Greetings, folks. Welcome. One of the main goals of data analysis is to summarize information and present it in a useful way to others. So here's some information on a categorical variable, which shows what 50 of my students ate for breakfast this morning. I'm presenting the data, but I have not done anything to summarize it in a way that's useful to others. A good first approach is to make a frequency distribution, which shows us first the values that a variable can have, and second, it shows us the frequency with which these values are observed. Here's a percentage frequency distribution table that summarizes this information. So I have a nice descriptive title, percentage frequency distribution of breakfast foods for Todd's students, and I show the sample size, which is n equals 50. So again, I have this information for 50 of my students. Now, we've summarized the data using words and numbers, but you may have heard the old expression, a picture is worth 1,000 words. The two most common types of pictures used to display categorical variables are pie charts and bar charts. Here's a pie chart that shows the percentages of students for the 5 categories of breakfast foods. The entire circle represents 100% of the observations, that is, all 50 students, and each slice of the pie has a category of food with its size representing the percentage of students that fall in the category. If I were describing this chart, here's what I might write. The figure shows the distribution of breakfast foods consumed by a sample of 50 students. The two most popular breakfast foods are cereal and toast, consumed by 24% and 22% of the students respectively. The least popular breakfast food is eggs, which is consumed by 16% of the students in our sample. So that's a nice little summary of the data that you see in the chart. Here's a bar chart that displays the same information. Each bar represents a category of breakfast food, and the height of the bars shows the frequency, or the percentage frequency. You will notice that there are spaces between the bars. These spaces are actually very important because they remind us that these are distinct categories of breakfast foods. With the bar chart, you have a choice of how to order the categories. One option is to have the categories in alphabetical order. Another option, which is more common, is to have the categories in order of their frequencies. Some categorical variables actually have a natural order. An example here is the amount of education that a person has completed, which could have the following categories: less than high school diploma, some college or 2-year college degree, 4-year college degree, or an advanced degree. When a categorical variable has a natural order, it's usually appropriate to use this order when making a bar chart. So here you see a bar chart that shows the educational attainment of U.S. residents, age 25 and older, and you see that the first category is less than high school, then high school diploma, etc., so on. So it kind of moves out as you get higher levels of educational attainment. Since we've looked at pie charts and bar charts, you might be wondering which one to use when displaying a categorical variable. It's ultimately a matter of preference, but here are some rules of thumb that I use. First, if a categorical variable has a natural order, it's good to use a bar chart because you can actually show that order. Second, if one or a few categories have very low frequencies, perhaps even a case where none of the observations fall within a category, I use a bar chart. That's because it's hard to see a very small category in a pie chart, and it's impossible to include a category with 0 observations in a pie chart. Third, if a variable has more than, say, 5 or so categories, I prefer to use a bar chart.